So I just got done playing Cronos The New Dawn over the weekend, or over last weekend, I should say. And it's a game that I've been thinking about ever since I finished it. So much so that I want to play through it again, and I've already started my playthrough of it. But I bought it like 2 weeks ago, kind of right when the game came out. And my video from last week is kind of discussing how I felt as I was playing it, because I think I was about 7 or 8 hours in by the time I made that video. And I think all said and done, I'm sitting at give or take 15, probably 15 to 20 hours, just because when I play survival horror, I take my time whenever I'm playing through the levels, and I try to look for everything like while I'm playing it, without using guides or anything like that. But ultimately, I did finish it, and I finished it and ended up really enjoying it. So I just kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit, and now that I have the whole thing completed, and just kind of warn ahead of time, there will be some spoilers in this video, probably not so much from gameplay, but just from me yapping about it. So keep that in mind too, because the gameplay is probably going to be from my New Game Plus playthrough, and it's pretty early on, so you're not going to see too much in that. But I will kind of yap about the story some here in a bit. But now that that's out of the way, I just wanted to say that it is a great survival horror experience. It is fantastic. I enjoyed probably every minute of it, minus the first like hour or two that I was trying to kind of get my gauge and understanding of what was happening in the game. And of that is still pretty vague because the story itself is it's concrete, but it's vague at the same time. But it's interesting, which makes it fun to play through. One of the things I noticed is that during a lot of the reviews and a lot of the stuff I was reading about it, a lot of people were comparing this game to like Resident Evil, or a lot of people compared it to Dead Space even. And I love Dead Space and I love Resident Evil, and I think they're both fantastic in their own ways. But I don't think that Cronos is like either one of them. I think it's kind of its own thing. It's a lot more like dreadful in terms of like, I guess, atmosphere, because Resident Evil, like, I don't know, it's weird. Like Resident Evil is fun to play, but it's scary to some people. To me, it's almost like for lack of a better term, like a whimsical horror, like, because some of the characters say really dumb things sometimes in Resident Evil, and some of the things that happen in Resident Evil are really over the top and just kind of silly. But that's part of the reason why I like it. It has that campy like horror feel to it, and I think that's really cool. I really like that about Resident Evil. And then Dead Space, it's like space horror, so it's like it's the same thing, but it's not as whimsical as Resident Evil is, because Resident Evil has that feel to it. But Dead Space is a little bit more serious. The story was really good on Dead Space too, but I don't think that it really embodies like dread as much as Cronos does, because Cronos it's almost like it's not like post-apocalyptic per se, but it feels that way when you're playing through it. And there's like monsters kind of just hidden everywhere. So you're always on your toes, just like you are in the other games, but it's just, I don't know, the game is so dark and it's just so barren and it feels lifeless like the whole time, just even more so than like Dead Space does, because I mean, you actually have people with you in Dead Space, and there are extra characters in Cronos that you meet, like the Warden and stuff like that, but it feels very like sparse. Like you do meet people, but like sometimes when they show up, they just show up and it just doesn't feel like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it does feel lived in. I don't know how to describe it. It's great. Look, if you like horror, you'll like Cronos The New Dawn. I'm sure of it. I haven't played like Bloober Team's remake of Silent Hill 2 yet. I'm kind of waiting for it to drop on Xbox, but that's a whole nother thing. But overall, I don't think it needs to be compared to Resident Evil or Dead Space. It's the same in terms of like third person over the shoulder survival horror, but it's in terms of story and just everything else, like it's just not. Like it's its own thing. I can see what people are seeing, but I just don't think, I think it needs to be viewed as its own. But anyway, I did find out, because since I got to the end, I think I discussed this in my previous video too, that I didn't know how many endings there were. And I have since found out there is 3. And I have seen 2 of them. because, and slight spoilers ahead, just so you're aware, give you a couple seconds. Cool. There is 3 different endings, and at the end, I save the game before the end, and you make a choice at the final boss battle. Basically, I made that choice 2 different times just because I wanted to see the outcome both ways. And of course, there was achievements for both sides, so I just wanted to see that too. But I ended up seeing both of those outcomes, but I was curious like how you see the third outcome because I really wanted to see it because I'm interested to see what that is. And I did find out that you have to play the game on New Game Plus all the way through to see the final ending. I mean, unless you just Google it, but that's like way less fun. But if you play through the game on New Game Plus, you'll end up seeing the special third and final ending. And I think, if I remember reading online correctly, I think the third ending is the true ending. So after New Game Plus. But the story, if I can try to recap it at all, I don't fully follow it. I do, but I don't. And you'll see why. But you basically play as something called a traveler. And you're working for this like company or business, and they're called the Collective. And you have to basically just do, I guess, missions for them. And whenever you start, your first mission is to find find the traveler that went before you, I'm guessing is what I understand, or it just could be a random traveler. And then you have to go find them. And when you do find them, they're dead. And you basically find out what their mission was, which was like finding specific people, and you end up taking their place. And you're like, cool, I'm going to go do this mission because you died along the way. And as you're doing their mission, like you'll find more fallen travelers and stuff like that. But anyway, like you have to find all these people, and you don't really like know why that you have to look for these people. I mean, there's reoccurring like, you keep going to this area called the Steelworks because I'm guessing that from what I understand, like the outbreak happened at the Steelworks, and basically you're trying to find out how it happened and why it happened. So you have to go find these people to get answers. And that's kind of what it sounds like, or kind of what it feels like when you're playing through it, or at least it did for me. And you end up finding some of these people, but there's interesting like time variations that happen during the story too, where you have to basically jump timelines because you're in the weird post-apocalyptic one the whole time, but you do have to jump into the past, and you have to do that to find certain people. It's like you'll jump to the past, like kind of right when the outbreak starts, and then you'll go back to the future, the present, and then you'll end up going back to where you're supposed to be. So you'll kind of bounce back and forth depending on the level, and that's how you find certain people like along the way. And that's really cool too, because I didn't realize how heavy of a time element the game would have just based on the trailers that I saw before it came out. But that's really neat that you can kind of bounce back and forth. And there is characters along the way that you meet that like it gives you the choice to like save them, because you can basically absorb their essence is what they call it. It's like their soul, for lack of a better term. But you can essentially absorb them and their perks for your character. So you might absorb like, I don't know, some dude named John, and his soul, as long as it's equipped on you, will give you like faster reload speeds, or it'll give you faster aim down sight speeds. It's things like that, but you can only hold 3 at a time. So that's really interesting too. But that's like a big story element where you find these people and your objective is to like pull their essence out. But then as you're collecting essences throughout the story, they start to kind of make your character go a little like insane, even though she's kind of like put together most of the game and she kind of handles it really well. I don't really want to spoil like the big like ending, like, because it is kind of a twist at the end. And if you are even considering playing this game, that's not something that I want to spoil for you, because when I saw it, I thought it was pretty cool. I appreciate games that can handle and do twists really well. And Cronos is one of the ones that I think does it really great. I don't know, it's not something that I saw coming. I thought it was really good. And by the time it happened though, like there was things that I realized I wasn't paying as much attention to as I probably should have been. in order to fully kind of grasp like what is going on. Because I actually was reading like all the notes on the playthrough. I read all the notes, anything that I could find, because I really wanted to get like the full picture, because I like Bloober Team a lot, like as a developer. And I feel like just ever since I played like Layers of Fear, like the original one that came out 2014 or something like that, that I've really looked forward to like when they release games. So I knew when they released this one, it seemed like a really big like project for them. So I wanted to see like how they were going to handle it and how they were going to execute it. And they did it really well. It's really solid. It's a good time. And I hesitate to say, because I'll make a video on this too, but I've also been playing through Silent Hill F, and so far I like Cronos a lot more than Silent Hill F. Not that Silent Hill F is bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's great, but it's not, I don't know, it's not pulling me as hard as Cronos was. And I think that says a lot about like an indie game that, I mean, I don't know how indie Bloober Team is now, but I mean, they started as indie. But I feel like that says a lot for them, and I think they're doing really well for themselves since that game has come out. And I hope that it's selling well too, because it deserves it, and the game is great. But yeah, that's pretty much just what I wanted to yap about for Cronos. But let me know if you guys have played it, because I would love to hear your thoughts on it, because it is a great time. And I think it's excellent, and you should give it a shot, whether you buy it full price or buy it on sale. I think it's worth it either way. But let me know what you're thinking. We can talk in the comments down below. Subscribe if you want, like the video if you want to help the channel, and we'll talk to you guys next Sunday. Bye-bye.